One of my best friends from college, Kyle, is coming to visit this weekend. And I haven't seen Kyle for, I believe, 5.5 years. He may correct me on that, but the last time I believe that we actually saw each other was the last time he came to visit in 2012. I was just trying to find some pictures from the last time he was here, and I don't have any. And I'm not quite sure why. Maybe I didn't have my phone that had a camera yet. But anyways, I think that was the last time. He stayed with me for 4 or 5 days as he was kind of road tripping through. And since then, we sort of talked like probably once a year in between, which is fine. I think like we're that kind of friends that we can just kind of like pick up right where we were and continue the relationship. Kyle and I were roommates for our freshman year of college down at the University of Redlands, and we didn't actually start as roommates. This was pretty funny. We were in the doors next door to each other, so like we were neighbors, and we met each other, the first couple days or whatever, and had started kind of hanging out. And just a couple weeks, maybe even only 2 or 3 weeks into the term, we were kind of like, well, hey, like I think you and I'd be really good roommates. I don't think either of us had anything against our existing roommates. We just, like Kyle and I both thought that him and I were a better fit for each other than the people that we've been paired with. And so given a bit of a choice, we'd rather have that. So we talked to the RA and the other roommates, and then actually like the next door down too. So there was like me and Kyle's room, and then another door down the hall. And we did like a three-way swap. So like I went to this door, Kyle's roommate went down to here, and then the third roommate from here came back down to take my place in my room. So Kyle got to stay in the room that he was in. It was fine. They were all the same. They're dorms. And we had a whole year together. It was really, really awesome. And we were really, really good friends. We hung out all the time. We were both like pretty active like students. Like we both like school was important, and we made sure to do all our work, and we both had jobs on campus. And we took a lot of trips together. We'd explore parts of Southern California, and just had a really, really good time, had a really, really strong bond. And I just have had kind of limited time to hang out since then. I went back and visited. I transferred out of that school after freshman year, and I went to a couple other schools. I went back to visit my sophomore year, so basically a year after I'd left. Went back down to hang out and stay with them for a couple days, which was really, really cool. And but since then, like I've only seen him a couple times. Oh, I guess I visited him in England too. After I went to visit the school again, I actually went over and stayed with his family outside of London for like 2 weeks. I think it was 2.5 weeks in between sophomore and junior year, which was super, super cool. So we had like other time to hang out. It wasn't just freshman year, but then we hung out like the year after we graduated was 2012, and we've chatted a few times since then. And one of the things, I know we've talked a couple times in between, but Kyle and I seem to at least I felt like I've tended to want to chat with him at some point before I've made some of these major decisions and changes that I've made, at least recently. I can specifically remember having like talking with him on the phone on a lunch break that I had when I was working in an office that I was thinking about leaving. Like I was already kind of pretty set on the idea, but we ended up chatting, kind of playing phone tag for a little bit, and then we got on the phone. And I feel like we talked for like 40 or 45 minutes or whatever. I took a long lunch break. And it was interesting because he at the time was also like looking at a important life decision of whether to stay in graduate school or to step out of that and then focus on getting a job. And he was living on the East Coast at the time, and I think wasn't in love with it over there. But that's at least the specific time that I can remember like chatting with him before we each made these like big decisions. We both made the decisions that we were talking to the other person about, in terms of he did end up leaving the program that he was in before completing it, and I ended up leaving the job that I was at to go do the national park thing, which was awesome. But I just really remember like being like it was just really helpful and valuable to have chatted with him about that before actually. I was probably going to make the decision anyways, but it just, I don't know, having his wisdom and support on that felt really, really cool. And it was almost like, since we didn't live in the same state and I didn't see him all the time, it was almost like easier to talk to him about some of those things rather than talking to my best friends that I saw every day that I lived near, or not every day, but really frequently, or talking to my coworkers, having kind of this more objective view of the situation and kind of the variables that I was presenting to him, which was really, really cool. And he's very analytical person, and I think like has a very thoughtful viewpoint, and he's a writer. He's done a ton of blogging online for a number of different publications, and has always been a really, really good writer. And so he's he's very, very thoughtful and like very well constructed thoughts and statements. He's not one that you'll find just like rambling, kind of like I do and I'm doing right now. Which is really, really cool. And so I think us as roommates, like we're a really good balance for that when we live together and when we hang out. So last time I was here, we went to Powell's. We went to a couple breweries before I knew much about breweries. I'm pretty sure we went to Ground Control. He works in the video game industry, so we checked out Ground Control. Went to a beer festival. There was one in town that weekend. We just hung out and chatted. We got together with my friends a couple of times. Went to a club. What else did we do? He wasn't here long. He had some other friends in town at the time, or people that he was working with that he spent a couple days with. We walked up and down 23rd and checked out that. That was in the spring. We got some nicer weather. This trip, he's coming. It's going to be raining like the entire time he's here. This big front came in off the coast, and it's just going to be like harder than drizzling, but not like pouring. It looks like almost the entire 72 hours or so that he's here, which is fine. Like it'll be fine. But I was thinking maybe we could go out to the coast or whatever, or up to the mountain to do a hike. But I think there's a bunch of snow dumping on the mountain, and the views from either of those places aren't going to be particularly spectacular if it's pouring this much rain. But we got plenty to do here. There's a video game expo, the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, I believe it's called, in town, which he's going to check out for work, and I'm going to try and tag along. We've got a number of breweries that we want to check out. I want to take him to Breakside, which is my favorite brewery. I want to take him to Great Notion, one of the hottest breweries in Portland right now. Potentially Fatheads, Culmination, Ex Novo, maybe 10 Barrel. We've got a ton of good options. Maybe out to Stickman. Lots of good food to eat. I really want to take him to Grassa, mostly as an excuse to go eat there. I have a friend who is a chef there, and he introduced me to it, and I was like, this food is amazing. And every time that I've been there, it's been phenomenal. And so I'm always like looking for excuses other than just going on my own to like take somebody there. And it's really good. If you haven't eaten at Grassa yet, especially the location on 23rd, like check it out. It's fantastic. And yeah, maybe just kind of explore the city. I thought about trying to do a walking tour or something. That could be kind of fun, but if it's pouring rain, like I'm right at the window, and just behind me I can like see it, like it's just raining. It's coming down. So anyways, I'm really excited that he's coming to town. We're gonna have a lot of fun. Unless he's changed much, I don't think he's particularly photogenic or wants to be on videos or anything, but I want to try to capture some of what we're doing and have a bit of a record of it. So I'm gonna try and get some video. Whether or not he'll be featured on it or not, I'll kind of leave that up to him, but I'm still going to try and capture some of that so we can have a record of our weekend here together. Another friend of ours that I was going to live with before I left the school, and then Kyle ended up living with down at Redlands. Bobby and his wife Erin live up here in Portland, and so we're going to get together with at least Bobby, hopefully Bobby and Erin at some point, one of the days. And that'll be good because I haven't seen Bobby, I think, since I went back to visit after I'd first left. So I haven't seen Bobby for then, that was probably 2009. So eight and a half years, even longer. So yeah, I'm excited. Look for updates, have a bit of a record of what we did and what we do. And we'll see if we get some of Kyle's favorites out of the things that he's gotten to experience while he's here this weekend. So more to come.